Just 2 autos would have actually made the difference there. But you know what? Who cares? Knight is an absolute god. I'm excited to see the pro view. You can see the question mark pings from his teammates as well as he pulls off a 1v3. We're going to rinse and repeat the draft here. Exactly the same bans as game number 2. We're going to be on the same sides of the draft, so both teams just happy with where they're at here. And we're just going to see a rinse and repeat a game of the first pick, but not the second.
And this is the change I wanted to see from Victory 5. I wanted to see them go towards the Aphelios. Sam D has looked absolutely fantastic on it and does give that late game scaling option towards Victory 5 to try and fight against top esports. Instantly, though, you can see JackeyLove goes towards the Karsa. He loves this Karsa pick.
He certainly does. Yuyanjia can grab the Nautilus as well, so top esports very much happy with the way things went in game number 2. And I can't say I'm that surprised, to be quite honest. The Ashe pick, though, being waylaid this time around by Victory 5. And I'm curious how much else they're going to try and change in this draft, because definitely the Aphelios lends towards matching in the late game.
Surprised to see them lock in the Twist of Fate so early. I actually thought they were going to go towards a Leona to support the Aphelios in the bottom lane and maybe try and set up some of these big plays in the bottom side of the map. But they're like, look, Mole, we want you on this Rome champion again. It was such a good pick at catching out JackeyLove, catching out yuyanjia on this Nautilus pick in game number 1. Let's try and have that repeat magic that we found in game number 1.
So the same bans once again from V5 here, trying to make sure that Knight can't have comfort and can't have the hyper carry in the Kassadin. Biubiu gets respect banned away with the Renekton that he has looked exceptional on across the course of this split. Now top esports have 1 ban remaining, and I'm curious where they're going to go with it.
I mean, I imagine they're still going to go topside. They envision that this... Oh, there it is, actually,
the Leona.
So, yeah, I was wondering if we'd actually see Leona first locked in here in this next rotate, on this pick here for Red 4. Because honestly, Leona does super well against the Nautilus. You just end up super way tankier. It nullifies a lot of the engage the top esports could potentially have, while enabling your Aphelios a lot as well. But won't get their hands on it. Looks like instead they will go back towards El Clasico for the ppgod in Game 3 versus top esports. He brings out the Bard.
What a pick for game 3 as well. This is going to be a hype game and a lot of mid-game strength once again here for V5. A lot of pick potential being locked in. On the other side, top esports now, they're considering the Sylas for themselves.
So the thing here is if you do go towards, with the Sylas lock-in and with the Karsa, a dive-orientated composition, it makes this Bard so much more difficult to try and work with, because your ability to pick people off and not actually just lock up your own teammates becomes suddenly a lot more difficult. So now it'll be on ppgod to see if he can try and have these star performances and make sure that he's able to stop these engages before they actually happen.
369, the last member to pick for the side of top esports. I don't think it's going to be the Urgot that gets locked in the end.
We have seen it over in the LCK. Keen has played that 3 times and won 100% of his games. Wasn't sure if we get to see it there, but the Ornn is going to be locked in, and there is the question of, do you just go full scaling here for V5, get that Kayle on the top side? You've got Mole and who can play off in another side lane as well, and you could end up working towards this super late game as V5. There we go, yeah.
V5 say, you know what, we're going to change things up. We're not going for the early aggression this time around. We're going to the complete opposite side of this scale. So V5 going pure scaling across the team, whereas this time top esports may be the ones that will have to push the pace of the game.
So when you look at, well, I'm going to actually go towards top esports first, because it makes it easier to look at how this dive is going to set up. You want to have Knight jumping in aggressively, JackeyLove as well. You have 369 in this Ornn to set up that dive potential alongside yuyanjia. But what V5 are looking to do here is to try and avoid a lot of that. You have this Kayle who has the invulnerability that can also scale into the super late game. ppgod as well on this Bard is looking to stop this all in and stop that coordinated dive that can come through from top esports. And then you can start to win out the fight with these Aphelioses, with all these, with the Kayles and that kind of stuff. As well, Volibear gets very much enabled when you are going for these all-in dives. So we'll have to see how these stuns alongside Mole and this Volibear will be able to control top esports. It's very much Victory 5 trying to contain the aggression that top esports are going to be tossing towards them in these fights.
Certainly once we get a couple of items on these carries, but this time it's Knight on the Sylas, changing picks each and every single game of this series. And one very important interaction we have to point out is we always talk about this Twisted Fate being able to roam around and snowball in the mid game, well, Sylas can steal his ult and do the exact same thing. So we have a lot of roam potential in that mid lane matchup. But I'm keeping my eyes towards that support role once again. We've got ppgod against yuyanjia the Prophet as we head into game number 3. It's time to hit the rift once again, Dagda, as we've got a bit of a doozy ahead of us. Scaling on both sides of the board. Hyper carries on both sides of the board. But if it goes the full way, I honestly don't know how to call this one.
It is very much down to execution on V5's side. Because, yes, look, they've got some great scaling. You talk about the Aphelios, you talk about the Kayle, but it is very much a case of how do they try and keep their multiple different members alive as top esports are looking to dive and get aggressive on top of them. There is the opportunity if V5 want to just go, right, we're going full side lane. If they can find some sort of advantage that allows them to swing the tempo in their favor and they can just have Mole off on a side lane with Biubiu putting pressure on these towers against an Ornn, they can look great. But it's going to be very difficult with the composition that they have because they're looking towards those later stages where they're strong to actually find that tempo advantage to allow them go towards that.
Speaking of tempo, we are going to have lethal tempo here for Sam D once again, which apparently between these two AD carries is the preferred rune on Aphelios. Karsa just going to be starting things off a bit more of a reserved way this time around. Just starts on his red and we'll be moving up towards the top side of the map. Weiwei going to start on his blue as well. So matching movements here from the two junglers.
And both these are single target junglers as well, so you're going to see pretty much the same route with Ray, or well, buff, Grom buff is going to be the idea, and then trying to put some pressure. I'd imagine more so with Weiwei just trying to keep tracks on Karsa and make sure he's not trying to gank towards the likes of Mole or even Biubiu in that top lane.
And, I mean, let's go back to the conversation we had right at the very start of the day when we were talking about how these two junglers function. And the way that V5 have found a lot of their wins across the course of this split has been through tracking the enemy jungler. And that's certainly how they were finding their success in game number 1 as well. Weiwei honestly just having a whale of a time up against Karsa. He was the MVP for game number 1. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to do the exact same, and obviously since that Graves has been banned away, Weiwei's had a bit of a harder time, but he's going to look to start things off strong here as he moves towards this top lane. 369 desperate to reset this wave, but he's too late on this one. Searing charge to try and get himself out, flash across the wall. 369 survives.
He does, but it's a lot burnt, and look at where this lane is now positioned. Biubiu can at least have it, well, I was going to say slotting back in towards him if he really wanted to, and still can have that chance where he just freezes it here. And now you've got to try and push in super aggressive as 369. Always wary that Weiwei can be on Krugs or his Raptors and still come up top. Luckily
for 369, I think he did just about enough to be able to get that shoving back out. ppgod gets found by a hook from yuyanjia there. It's a really nice trade for top esports.
And why I was surprised, honestly, to see ppgod go towards this Bard pick. It struggles super hard in the lane, especially against something as aggressive as a Nautilus and a Leo, or a Karsa, but
surely not. Is it gifted over like this? ppgod face checks into Karsa. We'll get underneath this tower here, but he knows he's in trouble.
He can't even go for the health pack because he's right in front of yuyanjia. TP
oh
plays.
My goodness. Top esports putting down the accelerate pedal, but it's answered with a TP from Mole. And that's enough to deter the tower dive.
I mean, honestly, that's a win as V5. You stop that play from happening. You've committed the TP from Knight, and yes, you get out of Mole. But for Mole, it's more about trying to find windows of opportunity where he is Destiny available. Knight doesn't have that counterplay. So if you're getting that teleport, it at least gives you some respite where maybe you can find a play with that Destiny.
God, I just love how tense this game is already. We see just like even the hint of a play towards the bottom side, TPs on both sides. Everybody knows that these teams are willing to pull the trigger on a dive like that and are willing to push the aggression.
And it's top esports that need to keep these plays rolling because they're the ones that will spike a little bit earlier, and they're the ones that want to have the likes of Knight getting rolling in this mid lane and try to influence these team fights in a massive way. So if they can find plays like that, it's going to be great for top esports, whereas for V5, being able to dissuade them is fantastic in and of itself.
And it's worth clarifying here as well that it's not necessarily that top esports have an early game composition, it's just that comparatively to V5, their composition works better in the early game. And so it's like, even though it's not about necessarily that they have drafted for early game, it's just V5 have drafted for sheer late game.
It's when top esports have the biggest advantages is what we're looking at. It's definitely when you look at that 2-item point where SamD hasn't got quite towards that 3rd Zeal item. Same with Biubiu trying to finish off some of his items, but also crucially get towards like the level 11, the level 16 where he accesses his full range of abilities as Kayle. And when you have top esports who can keep trying to make these plays, there's no reason why they can't find these early game plays, especially towards the likes of Dragons and towards those Rift Heralds.
And speaking of those Dragons as well, the first one of the game will be the Cloud Drake. So a bit of a crucial thing to notice here because, hang on, we got to dive up towards the top side here. Mole's coming in. He's got a gold card available. And the Bellow's Breath means that he can't actually find himself a way in. Weiwei happy to tank the tower. Mole barely gets away, walks back into the minions, playing it real dangerous there.
Yeah, and look, you can see Knight's trying to move up now to catch out the rotation of Mole, and might have been able to do it.
Knight is going to flash over the wall. What is that? Damage out of Knight just obliterates him. TP now being channeled by 369, but his ultimate's not going to be available, so can't quite force the issue here.
Massive mistakes from Mole. Not only refusing to just get the hell out of tower range, trying to go back in to provide more damage that wasn't really necessary, but then again giving that kill over towards Knight means that that play doesn't quite work out as well as they want, because the kill, don't forget, went to the Volibear. It didn't go to Biubiu, who they're trying to set up. So Knight would be the benefactor of one kill in return.
And it's important as well that V5 were the ones that committed more players towards that play. So in the meantime, Karsa has just been clearing the jungle on this bottom side of the map. He's moved in towards blue.
You got the Dragon as well, so they're starting to rack up these as top esports. And again, it's about forcing fights at that 3rd, 4th Dragon the top esports are interested in.
So
ppgod!
Nearly gets face checked again. Nice stun out of ppgod, but he might have baited himself here because SamD jumps forward to capitalize. Karsa just going to be here, just deters the play.
There's too many minions there for yuyanjia to try and get in and get a hook, so SamD will be able to escape away. So when all's said and done, it's nothing too much in that bottom lane, and now ppgod looking to try and get vision of this river back and trying to see if they can set up Mole once again to move down towards this bottom side of the map when the Destiny becomes available. Or even just wander, to be honest.
Or just right now, yeah. We see V5 moving to try and make a play. yuyanjia backing in a little bit of a greedy position. JackeyLove has to flash immediately. Weiwei gets underneath the tower. See you later, mate.
JackeyLove is not having a fun time this series. All 3 games, it's just been V5 going right. You ready to go visit bot and pick up a kill, yeah? And it's always either yuyanjia or JackeyLove that are really struggling in these early stages.
And it's just brutal, especially with this Volibear, the ability to just dive every single time. Karsa wants to make a play here. SamD has his summoners available. Tempered Fate is going to go wide. He doesn't have time to use his summoners because Knight's here as well.
Destiny coming out from Knight to turn around that play. And once again, Knight is doing a great job of answering for these early plays from V5, keeping the gold lead the same. And as well, look, JackeyLove is here to collect this mid lane. So when all's said and done, it's just 1 for 1.
When all's said and done, it's just 1 for 1. He's a poet and he doesn't even realize it. We're going to be kind of resetting on the map right here as Mole is going to be looking towards the top half of things. Karsa is just going to drop
Maybe
a ward.
If I don't move, he won't see me.
His vision is based on movement. He's like the
Rexa, you know?
Like the raptors off of Jurassic Park. I forgot the name of the dinosaur for a second there. They're going to go straight up towards this Rift Herald, which is not a dinosaur, but just as effective. JackeyLove does get a little bit of damage here, but Mole is out of mana, so I'm not too worried about him assassinating anything right now. As Weiwei is knocked up and can't take the magical journey. It's top esports now that take control of this Herald.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see V5 trying to contest this. They don't have a stronger 3v3. They don't have Weiwei's ability to actually burst that down, especially when you've got Mole out of mana as well. He can't help. So they were already deciding to trade SamD's turret plates in the bottom side for the Rift, but they just give over the flash of Weiwei as well. It was just a strange call.
Good respect here from SamD not to try and overforce on the turret plates. Obviously, he had that Calibrum, but he's like, hang on a second. I don't know where Knight is, and I'm very afraid of Knight this game. Weiwei wants to get himself a Scuttle Crab and, oh, denied on the Magical Journey. Gets it a second time, but yuyanjia's there to meet him at the end of it. Beautifully done there. The guy that we criticized from Top Esports, but coming up huge right there.
And no Tempered Fate available for ppgod, so can't answer for the 3-man play from Top Esports. And again, Top Esports, they're looking good. They're finding these plays.
And you said that this Bard pick might struggle in this game, and so far, ppgod not really been able to do all or too much with his ultimate with these Magical Journeys.
And the funny thing is, it's always Top Esports reading what the draft from V5 is and then trying to find answers to it. So not specifically the Bard pick, but when they saw the Bard, they were like, right, we can go for full dive. This makes it super difficult for ppgod to actually use this Bard pick. You've got an Aphelios and a Twist of Fate again, who, well, Aphelios can do reasonably well because he wants multiple members to be jumping in on top of him, but not specifically when you don't have a huge amount of guaranteed peel. So again, this is a nice draft from Top Esports that when we get to those later portions, even though you have the scaling on V5, the execution from Top Esports can make that difference.
And you know what, Dagda? I'm starting to get the feeling that this could be a really, really chaotic game, especially if we do get to the later stages, because the vibes I've been getting from both of these teams is top team vibes. And when we see the top teams in the LPL go head-to-head, and when we see the games go long, it's never simple. Knock up here onto Biubiu. So we have a bit of a 1v1. Destiny is going to be channeled, but it's going towards the bottom side right here, in underneath the tower. JackeyLove somehow survives for a second, but second's not long enough here. Mole tank in the tower gets down to half. While there's 2 members strong for Top Esports, I really don't think they want that fight.
They don't, but Knight is answering again in this mid lane. Dragon is what V5 want to go for, but Mole is trying to trade Terror Plates on the bottom side. Top lane, though.
Can 369 find it? No, okay. He's going to back out from that one. Just trying to deter the pressure that was coming out from the side of Biubiu. This V5 will be able to get themselves their first Drake of the game. Biubiu, in the meantime, just solo dived. I don't know why we were looking at the Drake there. And now Herald in the mid lane is... This is just suddenly chaos.
So what happened was Top Esports realized, look, we can't get the Dragon. We want to get plates onto Knight. They got all 5 of those plates on towards the mid laner. So Top Esports were considering that an okay trade. The problem was 369 dies to Biubiu in the top lane, which is not the play at all. I think he was trying to stop that teleport from Biubiu and ended up costing him his life instead.
Perhaps, as the teleport did get channeled there by Biubiu. Oh, we got a replay of it.
Yeah, and don't forget, this is the 369 who against Khan was able to win out in the Quinn matchup. Well, at least come even in the Quinn matchup as 369. You can see, look, trying to go for that trade to prevent the early plays, or at least potential play around that Dragon from Biubiu, ends up costing him so much there.
Cost him his life there. Biubiu did use the flash, so there's potential that he could be punished for that one a little bit later on into the lane. And by the way, take a look at your minimap. Look where Knight happens to be right now. Biubiu, no flash. And maybe suspicious, but he's going to be spotted as he moves back into the lane. Doesn't have his ultimate available either. And Knight easily has the damage to finish this one off. 369 gets it with the bellows, Brett.
I think 369 was kind of just like, hey, I wanted to get the assist to manage to pick up the kill because of the burst damage that Knight has available right now. V5, though, do get turret plates in this mid lane. But again, think about how big Knight is going to be. That's 5 turret plates mid. You got a couple on the bottom side as well. Now getting some on this top lane as 2. Knight is massive right now.
They're looking for a second tower with all turret plates here. In the meantime, V5 answering the bottom side of the map. There's 10 seconds remaining until these tower plates off. I feel like I'm watching a game show right now as they battle against the clock. There's one. It's not going to be answered in the top side quite in time. 369 will be able to finish it after these turret plates fall.
Look at the items Knight has already, though. He's already 2 items into his build. He is so strong right now that, honestly, you have to be... Oh, ppgod.
Hang on. Karsa. Stun doesn't connect, so he's just going to get away with the red buff here. Let's just hang on for a second here. Let's just reset. The turret plates are now gone down. We're just about even gold once again, Doug.
We are, but it's where that gold is. Because a lot of it on Top Esports is on tonight, whereas it's a little bit more spread out on V5. You've got kills and plates. Well, thank you, Graf, for showing me. You got kills and plates onto Biubiu. Same when it comes to Mole and same when it comes to Sam D. Whereas, look at all that gold funneled into Knight. Knight has to be the carry for Top Esports.
I mean, 1,200 plate gold in a single game right there. And you know what? He's got himself that Dark Seal. He's not been able to go for the Medjais quite the same way. in this series, certainly not in game 1 at least.
Yeah, but if
This
turret
time
plates,
around, he's going to be able to
if
get
turret plates were stacked, he would have been at 25 already. Like, he's pretty damn far along. It won't be long before he's able to stack up a few of these Dark Seal stacks as well. And look at the gold there. You can see it. 7,700. He's 1,200 gold ahead of the next person, which is Mole. Like, that is absolutely insane.
Unreal so far from Knight. Not just in this game, but in this entire split, to be quite honest. With the Sylas as well, you really can hard carry.
And he's got the ability now to play off in his side lane, fight against Mole, go for this, you know, split push, answer for the Destiny, even when he's able to steal it away. He's got the teleport. So now V5 have got their work cut out, and Mole just being able to apply pressure on the side lane, because Mole can't step too far for fear of Knight engaging.
And now it's Top Esports acknowledging the fact that they're up against a Kayle. So they have the advantage in the early game. They're going to start this Herald off here. But V5 look like they want to answer. I don't think that's a fight you want to take right now, V5.
They're going to back away. The thing is now, though, V5 are starting to get to at least the item break, level break points for Biubiu. He's hit that level 11. He's going to start being pretty useful. We'll be working up towards that Nashor's Tooth fairly quickly as well. And then you're looking down at Sam D, still a fair bit away from these double zeals. But at least because we're still even, we're still going tip for tat in a lot of these situations. V5 are getting to those later game points where they're going to be able to fight back against Top Esports.
That will be the question, is at what point that really starts to happen. And we've seen already that Biubiu, he ain't afraid of early game Kayle. He's happy to go for dives with that ultimate. And when we consider the fact, hang on, I don't have time to talk about anything right now because 369 just used his Searing Charge into the minion wave, but there's no CC. So 369, no, the gold card comes in the last possible second. Oh, 369, he tried. It was a valiant effort, but he goes down.
And that's so unfortunate that he hasn't able to get out of there. Knight, though, once again, is answering elsewhere on the map. He takes down this turret. Now you got the Rift Tower to boot as well with Karsa popping that over the wall. He can go for this second tower, no problem.
And do you know what? That was one of the most high-pressure gold cards I think I've ever seen in League of Legends. If that was a blue card salute, he'd be saluting as he watched him leave right there. Tier 2 does go the way of Top Esports in the bottom side of the map, though. In the meantime, a dragon also goes down. So Top Esports at least able to find some advantages as 369 fell.
This is both teams trying to outsmart the other as quickly as possible. And it is absolutely amazing to watch where you're trying to make these plays as Mole to set up Biubiu again in this top side. You have Top Esports answering for a double tower on bottom side, so it doesn't quite make it as worth, even when you get the tower included for V5. This is where it starts to get a little bit more difficult for Top Esports, though, is cracking open these inner structures, because V5 will be a lot easier and more capable of defending.
If JackeyLove comes to this on his own, he's in so much trouble. There's nothing you can do about that one, because the whole squad, just goon squad, arrives in the mid lane.
But again, it was JackeyLove wandering into mid lane on his own. Top Esports didn't have pressure elsewhere, so V5 can go for plays like that and not have to worry about it.
Love to see the teamwork there from Top Esports as well. CC chain the wolf so he can't reset. Beautifully done. So let's take a look at the time on the clock right now, because we're a minute and a half away from Baron, 4 minutes away from a dragon. And my question, Dagda, is how do Top Esports keep the tempo up here without neutral objectives to force? Like, what is the next port of call? Because we already talked about V5 kind of went out on scaling.
Well, it's definitely to try and have Knight be a big threat to these side lanes. He's gone for the Lichbane build now, so he's looking to go full split push, where get off in the side lane against Mole, try and put pressure there, where right now, with how strong Knight is, he can dive Mole. He can dive, honestly, everyone except for Biubiu underneath the turret. So you want Knight topside to try and put pressure onto that second tier 2. You can try and crack that one open. And then even if you have a multi-man commitment towards that top side, the mid lane structure is so low that Top Esports can just take that mid lane turret instead.
We're going to have a fight over a red buff. Never mind neutral objectives here. Ornn across the team here. It's going to get a knock up onto Sammy D. Top Esports, they got what they came for. They found themselves a red buff.
They got the flash out of Mole as well, so they're pretty happy with that. But
oh, JackeyLove's been caught by the Tempered Fate, and V5 very quickly realized that they cannot follow up there.
Now you can see Knight postures aggressively, and everyone's like, okay, hold the phone. We don't want this anymore.
God, this is so tense. There is nothing to fight for right now, but you know what? They're willing to go for it. We've got Dark Seals on either side of the mid lane. Knight now moving to this bottom side of the map to try and get some pressure on the go.
And look, this is the game plan for top that we said. They are going to want Knight in a side lane because he's just so much stronger than everyone else right now, and he has that dive potential. So, and even, look, if he ends up against Biubiu, he can even steal away the invulnerability, just match the two invulnerabilities, and still kill Biubiu. So, we have to be very careful if we're V5 side, that we're not just falling prey to Knight and trying to create multiple different pressure points elsewhere. So then top esports have to respond with Knight.
We got a hook in the jungle here as ppgod trying to get some deep vision. It was spotted out and it'll be cleared as well. As JackeyLove and Knight are in the mid lane here. You can see V5 posturing pretty aggressively around this barrier, just trying to at least maintain vision control.
Well, that's the thing. Knight doesn't have that teleport up just yet, so they want him positioned with the rest of the team for the moment, but eventually will have that back and available. Whereas Mole has that Destiny, and you're looking at Biubiu with his own TP available. So V5 are looking to get control of these side lanes and put pressure onto top to deal with them.
Yeah, one of the weird things about these side lane assignments that we need to watch out for. Oh, hang on, the Colonel. He's liking the look of V5 right now in our Kentucky Fried chart. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. But one of the interactions we've got to be looking out for is how these two teams assign their laners to the side lanes. Because Knight, if he can, would love to go against Mole at any moment so that the TP doesn't matter. So he can just steal the Destiny.
It's very hard to guarantee that, though, because V5 are going to be pushing both sides, and it's kind of the case of, okay, who on our side as top esports has teleport up? If it's Knight, cool, you're bottom side. And honestly, you want 369 with the team.
369. We'll walk away from any kind of CC here. Yuyanjia dredge line away. Destiny was already used here. And he's just going to teleport towards the bottom lane as Biubiu and Mole look to split push and try and find themselves a tier 2. In the meantime, top esports say, hey, anything you can do, we can do better, and run straight to the mid lane.
Well, 369 is going to be on this bottom side. They're looking to make a play with Knight.
They're going to find a knock-up onto Biubiu here. Tower didn't go down, importantly. Biubiu using his ultimate very early on, and Knight is going to match it to keep himself safe, but yuyanjia is here on the flank. Knight keeps himself alive with the goldenness. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but Biubiu's fallen. In the meantime, JackeyLove's in trouble because there's a bear on his face. Karsa here to try and protect the AD carry, but he just doesn't have the shielding available. Knight won't be able to do anything no matter how much gold he has because Weiwei is charging on in. In the meantime, Mole has been chased down by 369 and yuyanjia, and this fight is all over the place.
We are all over the place, but V5 are able to turn towards this dragon. They're looking for the pick on top esports, though. They know!
What? They don't have any damage. They need to get out of here right now. Just try to play the secret agent style. yuyanjia dredge line to the wall. 369 survives as well. Knight is here. He could get onto Sam-D and make something magical happen. Steals away the Volibear ult. It's not going to happen.
And now Biubiu's back up. He has his teleport. Doesn't need it for this play. But you can see how top esports need to commit multiple members to this play with V5. And this is what I love when you've got double teleports up, is playing with both of those in a solo lane means that you have to have multiple members come to deal with it. And we talked about Knight being able to deal with one. He definitely can't deal with two.
And just look at the strategy here from V5 as well. It's just shut down JackeyLove. Do not let him play.
Yeah, and I mean, this is all thanks to committing 3 members on the bottom side. You've got that long-range engage from ppgod, and this is where if you could... Oh, hang on. They're on Baron in the bottom left.
Wait, what? Top esports are just going to try and rush Baron. They're just going to try and sneak it away. Weiwei knows what's going on right now. He's going to move over. It's going to be spotted, but it's way too late. And top esports once again steal that Baron.
And no vision for V5, and even if Weiwei got there, no flash, no way into the pit. So top esports can steal that away. They will trade for that, well, maybe not even trade for that bottom lane tier 2, but they're fine with that.
It does go down in the end, but you know what? Baron for a tier 2, we'll take that any day of the week. And once again, we find ourselves in this even position on the map, but Mole has gone in. JackeyLove caught by the tempered fate as yuyanjia has to block everything, but the ult went wide from Sam-D. Couldn't finish off the kill. It's JackeyLove now to fall. He's traded for ppgod here. And V5 are winning this one out. Weiwei is going to be tanky enough to walk away from this one. And Biubiu is Kayle, so you always have to be careful walking into that.
And Sam-D is in perfect spot here. Top esports need to have coordinated dives with all these misfits trying to come together to... Well, the catch-out from ppgod can't be as coordinated, and it's V5 who win out.
Once again, JackeyLove caught out. 1-5 right now on the Karsa. Knight has finished his Lich Bane, but Knight's been pretty quiet on this Sylas during these fights.
Munch, this is V5 just understanding how to play against what Top Esports are trying to do. So they commit multiple members bot because it does open up again Top Esports. Mole sets up for this play. So on the dives, you want to have Knight here, you want JackeyLove going aggressive with them, you want everyone to be diving onto Biubiu and Sam G. But when they're the ones on Top Esports getting caught out by ppgod, it means that they can't make these plays happen. So as long as Biubiu and Mole are continuing this pressure. Ooh, ppgod.
Oh, but he gets away. The magical journey out as well.
Yeah, as long as V5 are continuing this pressure with Biubiu having teleport, Destiny almost up for Mole as this two-man unit on the bottom side, it becomes very difficult for Top Esports to actually try and make any plays on V5 where they can have this coordinated dive play.
We're going to see Sam D has finished those 3 crit items as well, so he's entering Aphelios territory. ppgod gets himself with the Tempered Fate, but Karsa's there to bite down, finish the kill off. Now in towards the mid lane as 369 maybe a little overzealous on the ult.
I think you just forego this mid lane Terra. Now you do have Modus coming up, but not having that ult could be pretty dire here.
It's going to be at very least a tier 2. The question is, can Top Esports force more here? They're trying to get in on towards this inhibitor tower. They've got the Baron buff still for a good little while as the siege will continue, but they don't really have much long-range damage, and it's actually 369 stunned up. Gets the Kayle ult from his Sylas there, and I think they might be able to get away with this one. Mole has flash and a gold card, but won't close the gap.
And with the Call of the Forge God down, Karsa not having ult, yuyanjia would have been the only really re-engaged tool, but Top Esports not feeling fully confident in trying to make that play and turn that around. So it will just be that single tower going down. However, that's kind of the moment that Top Esports had. Baron buff is now worn off. You saw how good the wave clear is on V5 side, so it'd be difficult for them to try and make that repeat performance. And now, with that Mountain Dragon coming up in just over a minute, Biubiu's entering top side. He's teleport to get down to the bottom lane. Knight does have his own, will be able to answer, but V5 are still looking to try and make these map plays before that dragon comes up.
I love how JackeyLove very aware that he cannot go for that minion wave anymore. He's been bullied into subsidence here in the bottom lane. He's 1 and 5, but he has hit the 3-item mark that we always talk about with Karsa. Similar story in the mid lane from Knight, who has that Soul Stealer that we all know him for. He's got himself 9 stacks so far. But we haven't really seen this kind of side lane play that we were talking about earlier on. We typically are just seeing V5 really grouping up and trying to work as a team. Yuyanjia's going to be stunned against the wall here. 369 is very tanky. I think he's going to be okay to take the brunt of this one, but forced to flash away here. Tempered Fate now, but Fellow's Breath denies it. That means Top Esports is going to be okay.
Big engage 2 down from ppgod, and see 369 still looking, still moving. Has that teleport to rejoin.
Denied on the magical journey, has to flash over the wall, but it's a TP on the side here from 369 or Knight. Redemption across the team as Weiwei isn't tanky enough and has to flash away. Knock up on everyone for 369. In goes Knight. Sam D going to be kept alive by the Kayle ult. As now 369 trying to get onto the backline. Weiwei will fall here, and it's 2 picks for Top Esports as they move in towards this dragon. Mole just gets out of dodge.
And that was not the fight that V5 wanted to take. We've seen them have such strong plays when they're playing off in a side lane, and they could have just continued that. Had Mole and Biubiu commit to top side, they can probably get 1 to 2 of those structures if they really want to, have those teleports to come into the fight, but because they tried to go against top without ppgod having this Tempered Fate to separate Top Esports and stop the coordinated dives, you see the results right here. Mole does get separated, but he still have to flash out, he still have to reposition, but engaging onto Top Esports is not what you want to do, because now you've got an Ornn who's able to come in on the side. Sam D does a good job of repositioning here to get away, but unfortunately, when you've got an AP Volibear ult on Knight, the second you are in position, Sam D is going to just get dove on by Knight, wiped his health bar clean, and at that stage, V5 can't continue the fight. And
immediately, Sam D buys a Hex Trinket. He's like, never again, never again will I die to Knight's Volibear ult. But you know what, I have no idea who's going to win this game, Dagda, and that excites me. 4 minutes until the next dragon. That would be sold for Top Esports if they're able to get it, but Baron is up in 15 seconds.
And if Top Esports are fast enough, which is what looks like they're trying to do, is they can just get into this river area and stop the plays.
Knight is going to be stunned by Mole here, Tempered Fate as well. The rest of Top Esports are here, and they're quite happy to just start the fight onto Weiwei instead. Knockups across 2 members from 369 as he plays that tanky front line here. And a nice little disengage from top esports.
Biubiu is hit level 16. He's going to be super strong. Knight, though, has that Kayle ultimate, wants to get in aggressively and use that in the midst of everyone on V5.
If he can get it to proc onto Samdi, onto Mole, it will do insane damage in Knight's hands. He's got 15 stacks on that Magi's.
Again, though, V5 are foregoing these side lanes, which is where they could be strongest. They could be looking to just have this push going, but the problem is with top esports now controlling the river area, they can't have time to push in these side lanes and get pressure onto these structures.
It looks like he just wants to run at them, in all honesty, as he's sprinting around the map here. V5 getting the inside track on the mid lane here. They could just try and force an inhibitor, but they know that they might risk a Baron.
The thing is, though, they can have Mole if he just wants to keep pushing because he has the destiny to rejoin. Top esports start the Baron to try and dissuade the play with the minions gone.
They're going to dissuade the play. It looks like top esports want to commit to this one. Karsa has to back away. Redemption going to be used. They can't quite get onto Samdi. The pillar's not quite there. Knight gets onto Mole, but it's immediately the Kayle to keep him alive. Everybody backing away from V5, but Knight doing so much on the back line right now. It's only yuyanjia to fall. It's 369 gets the knock up. Mole is the answer. Biubiu solo, as is Weiwei, and they're desperate to close this gap. Knight isn't quick enough just yet. Protobelt on cooldown, and he can't get over the wall. It's just going to be 1-for-1.
And V5 are too low, though. They can't try and fight against top esports, who can just turn back towards this Baron. Biubiu has the teleport, though. Could try to rejoin, but Knight will have his ult up very soon.
Biubiu will TP back in. Samdi is here. Moonlight Vigil is on cooldown, but this Baron might just go down before they can even get into the fight here. 2,000 remaining. There's JackeyLove trying to burst it down. Karsa gets the Baron, and now it's a 4v5. Moonlight Vigil from Knight doesn't quite do enough damage to finish anybody off. Weiwei can't get into this one. As Samdi steps forward.
Oh my God!
Aphelios, there's a Kayle as well from Biubiu. Knockups from 369. He's just desperate to let Karsa survive.
The minion wave is there, though. There's 50 seconds on Knight, and on 369, they can crack open this base.
No way can they do this one. V5 are in the mid lane. TP from Mole. 5 members strong. It is all on Karsa and yuyanjia just to buy time. yuyanjia knows it as he goes straight in to just distract, just to keep them away as long as he can. Karsa just try to clear minions.
All the ults are coming back up, though. This is the play.
Flash
this is
forward
V5
from
going.
Biubiu. He's trying to get onto Karsa, and he'll be able to kill him underneath the tower. Surely not. V5 are the destined team to take down top esports. I cannot believe my eyes. Winless throughout the whole of spring, and now bringing down international champions. V5 are on the rise.
V5 in their trial today have